Now, we have had great successes when we still have some challenges. But let me say one thing before I get to identify a few successes. That the private schools in this country, let me use the word, have led the way in terms of implementation of the competency. A more serious clap than that. This, I am not afraid to say on record, that when you look at the data, when you go to observe the implementation of the competency-based curriculum, you can clearly see that a number of our private schools are just doing exactly what we expect, and a bit more. In terms of what, and that will underscore the successes I'm talking about. One, private schools, you have led the way in terms of the infrastructure for CBC. What we thought. So in terms of infrastructure for CBC, you have interpreted the fact that CBC is experiential and requires learners to have practical experiences. Private schools have run away even with the way learners sit. Of course, in your schools, learners don't sit like this. Occasionally, I come to your schools and the first thing I do is to rearrange the way learners are seated. A true interpretation that the first competence in CBC is communication and collaboration, and therefore we expect learners to do things together, always seated together and doing practical work. Private schools have run away with pedagogy. You know, how exactly do we teach? Especially the fact that the teacher in the competency-based curriculum is a guide by the side and not a sage on stage. Let it not be misreported. We have gone to many, many public schools that will also shock you at one thing, and think this is where they are better than you. Public schools will shock you at how they are able to use local resources. And maybe that is one area a lot of you, Mr. Liech and team, need to rethink. In public schools, just to mention a few local resources, they will use clay, not plasticine. In public schools, they will use waste paper. They will not ask people to bring reams of paper like you do. They will draw. They will not take pictures the way you say, go home and take a picture of your family. These ones will draw their family, and you can see the features of the father, the mother, the grandfather, the way the children interpret them. These private schools will use the football that you used to call mpich ananga, football made of waste cloth, and even waste bottle. There's a teacher in Dere Boys. Chairman, I wish I had time to bring her here to do a demonstration. Actually, on my phone, she is saved as CBC teacher who does extremely great things. When they even have fashion shows, the clothes of the children are made of bottle tops, they are made of waste plastic, but they come out so nicely that you first want to ask her, where are these imported from? So they have, a lot of our good public schools have demonstrated that CBC is implementable by just looking around the space you have and think about what can I use for learning. And that is one of the challenges we have as private schools. Some of us, not all, have still given the impression that CBC is expensive by the things we ask our parents to buy. And I want to plead, encourage your parents to report to you what they may consider unreasonable requests from the school.